Dow Chemical shares are trading lower despite better than expected second quarter earnings yesterday. The company's profits rose even as falling oil and exchange rates pushed sales lower. I spoke to CEO Andrew Liveris and asked him how his company is adapting to the slowing Chinese economy.
I go to China 4 or 5 times a year, spend a lot of my life out there based as a younger man, running the Dow operations out that part of the world. This transformation in China, which started in 2012, the pivot from an export-led economy to a domestic economy, from high volume to high value, that's the pivot we're all seeing. And if you're exposed to the export sector of China, you're not going to like your numbers for some time. It's been true for a couple of years, and it's going to actually probably get worse from here. Our exposure to China, we pivoted a few years ago to these domestic drivers. And these domestic drivers are in the main, they really are trying to build up a high-value economy and improve their quality of life. So if you have technology for pure water or for food safety or for emissions management and environmental protection or for lightweight automobiles or for efficient building construction, that's our exposure to China. It's a high-value exposure. Our volumes grew 8% year-on-year in China, despite all the noise around the China market.
That's interesting. And you have been retooling this company. In fact, I saw that you said that you're not a chemical company, you're a science company. What do you mean by that?
A lot of our R&D dollars these last 7 or 8 years is actually moving to the intersection of those sciences, putting money into biology, putting money into material science, whether it be coatings or water purification technology or insulation materials for buildings, adhesives. These are still sciences based on chemistry, but they express themselves not as chemicals and plastics, but as materials. And that type of company is still, if you like, a chemistry company, but it's now looking at all the sciences. You know, we hire analytics experts, mathematical modelers, we hire big data people, we hire robotics experts, we hire automation experts, and we hire chemical engineers like me.
If you're trying to woo someone, a young person, as you continue to try to make the company nimble, what do you say to them? What's your pitch when they could say, I could go to a Silicon Valley startup or I could go work for Dow? What do you say to them?
The last 5 years, we've hired 22,000 people, and the last 5 years, our average age has gone down by over 10 years, and 12,000 of our people that we have hired are under the age of 30, and 35% of my workforce has not been with us longer than 5 years. So what I say to the Silicon Valley crowd is, we're 118 years young. We're a 118-year young startup. And no, we're not quite Silicon Valley, but we're catching you. We launched our 2025 sustainability goals. Millennials care about the social issues and the environmental issues. And if you work for a company that solves those problems rather than creates them, our sustainability goals speak to that, valuing nature. And that's another major recruiting line. We can get pretty much who we want today, very low turnover rate, and we're recruiting globally, and certainly here in the United States. And I would tell you, we're an employer of choice.
Andrew, we're talking a lot about the positives, and I could see how enthusiastic you are about Dow's future, but I know a job CEO is to worry as well. What is it out there on the horizon that concerns you for Dow?
Well, I would say over and over, risk, geopolitical volatility, Maggie, is here to stay. And you read about it, you report on it, we read about it. Managing country-based risk, managing your exposures, you talked about currency earlier, managing your physical locations, being safe. We run 900 assets around the world. You can imagine that's a 24-hour operation. You can no longer do a 5-year plan and just think you're going to execute that plan. You plan in the moment, as long as you know your North Star and go in that direction, you plan in the moment against those risks.